Welcome to the Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. I'm so happy you found us. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on I-Fiber One News Radio, KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Good morning to you. Daybreak here on the 28th of October. Spencer Hughes, how you doing there, man?
I'm doing great. Another cool morning, almost the end of the month. I can't believe it.
Yeah, Halloween will be here just before you know it. And then also, as we go to bed Saturday and get ready to wake up on Sunday, we will also, folks, have fallen back an hour.
Oh, it's that time, isn't it? So that means pitch black in the morning and pitch black at night? Or is it lighter in the morning, darker at night?
The best of both worlds, I think, is what that is right there, Spencer. That's right. Daylight saving time ends. It's not savings time.
Thank you.
A program director for any kind of a radio station out there. It's daylight saving time that ends Sunday morning. We fall back an hour. Coming up on the show today, going to have Mary Ricker from the city of Shelton on. Today is one of two upcoming Warrant Amnesty days, and so Mary is on to talk a little bit about this. And then, Spencer, you have an interview with a 7-year-old Cavanugh Bell.
Yes, this young man has done more good in his 7 years than most of us can say we've done in a lifetime. He's started an anti-bullying nonprofit and a food pantry that has fed thousands of people in need in Maryland where he lives and beyond. So really cool kid, and can't wait to hear from him later.
No new confirmed positive COVID-19 test results in Mason County residents, according to the county yesterday. There are 563 total positive cases since the beginning of record keeping. 55 active cases are ongoing, and the total tests performed 14,127.
Washington is among a handful of Western states that have joined a pact to independently review the safety and efficacy of any coronavirus vaccine that is ultimately approved by the FDA before any distribution occurs in those states. Last week, California was the first to announce such a plan, and Governor Gavin Newsom said the independent review would happen regardless of who wins next week's presidential election. Oregon and Nevada are also part of the work group announced yesterday. Governor Inslee stressed that the public health experts in the group will concurrently be reviewing publicly released data before FDA approval of a vaccine, and that any decision by the group should come within days after federal approval.
1 week out, less than that, really, from Election Day. More than half of the state's 4.8 million voters have already cast their votes. The Secretary of State's office reporting that as of last night, 2.5 million ballots have been returned. Now, 4 years ago at this same time, just 28.5% of ballots had been returned. So a huge turnout. We are still encouraging you to get your ballot into one of the ballot drop boxes in your area. There are 10 in Mason County and more around in different counties. We've also put forth a ton of great videos with the Mason County Auditor's Office and Elections Department on election security, the path of your ballot, also what to expect on Election Day if you still want to come down there. They're going to be open over the weekend. There's information on there as well with those videos. And we'll have full coverage of the election here on Tuesday starting at 4 p.m. So please get to ballot back, and it'll be counted.
The Shelton Police Department excited to launch Books and Badges, a school supply drive in partnership with Graduation Matters to support students in our community. Back to school season this year looks a little different than usual, but our students still need supplies. Needed supplies include paper, pens and pencils, folders, wireless computer mice, and the like. Ongoing now, supply donations can be brought to Smoke and Moe's, or our community credit union. Monetary donations can be brought to either the Shelton Police Department or Peninsula Credit Union. Donations will be accepted now through Friday, November 20th, and all donated supplies will be distributed to local students in need.
We took a video tour of some of the new sports facilities at the high school. It's already gone Shelton viral, I guess, on social media. Athletic Director Trevor Leopold and I walked around, looked at the football field, the strength center, the pool, and more. You can see that on our Facebook page. You can search for that at iFiber One News Radio. Seattle Sounders clinching a spot in the playoffs with a 2-0 victory over the Whitecaps. And the Seahawks play the 49ers this weekend. Pregame at 11, kick at 1:25. Hawks are presented by Shelton Health and Rehab, Riviera's Shellfish, South Sound Appliance, Dogtown Grooming, Neil's Pharmacy, and the Shelton Athletic Club. Again today, 7-year-old Cavanugh Bell talking about his anti-bullying nonprofit and food pantry that he's begun, and Warrant Amnesty Day in the city of Shelton. Mary Ricker will be on to talk about that. It's all coming up here on this Wednesday morning, and good morning to you.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey and Spencer Hughes here on the Daybreak Show. Got a special phone call in with Mary Ricker from the city of Shelton. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
So I am seeing on the City of Shelton's Facebook page that today is a Warrant Amnesty Day, and it is at the Shelton Municipal Court, 525 West Coda. This is for municipal court warrants only. What is this, and how is this going to help some of the folks in town?
So what a Warrant Amnesty Day is anyone with a municipal court warrant can stop by the court, which is located on the first floor of the Civic Center, and they'll have their warrants quashed, and they can either set a court date for further resolution of their case, or they could even possibly have their case settled that day. And so the big thing is having the warrant quashed, which means that, it's kind of ended. Right. That's a kind of a fancy word for meaning that the warrant is no longer active.
Okay, so do participants who are interested in this need to bring a lawyer with them, or what do they need to bring?
So you don't need to bring anything in particular with you. If you have paperwork, that's kind of an individual thing. You'll know if you have paperwork or other forms, but there will be people from the public defender's office and the prosecutor's office there, so you don't need a lawyer. You just need yourself, pretty much.
And how is this going to work with the COVID-19?
Yeah, so since it is in the Civic Center is requiring everybody coming in to be wearing a mask, and that's true in the courtroom as well. And then because when you walk into the Civic Center, there's a big lobby right when you walk in, so people are able to social distance in the lobby. So not everyone will be in the smaller courtroom at once, so people are able to kind of spread out that way.
And are you familiar with how this came about?
I believe Judge Greer, our municipal court judge, he has done similar warrant amnesty days at other courts that he's served in, and just around the region, this has been a popular kind of thing because it helps the court kind of move cases along and help make sure that they're working as efficiently as they can.
Clears the docket.
Yes.
Is that what they say?
That's right. Very proper term.
Again, today is a Warrant Amnesty Day for the Shelton Municipal Court at 525 West Coda. If this is something that involves you are familiar with it and should bring all the proper information along with you to help get this out. Mary Ricker, again, on the phone line this morning talking about this. It's happening today at the Civic Center, 525 West Coda. Please follow all proper COVID-19 precautions and social distance, but this is an option today.
Yep, and it's from 1:30 to 4 today.
All right, thanks, Mary.
Yeah, no problem.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
Spencer Hughes and Jeff Slakey on Daybreak. Good morning to you. We have a very special guest with us right now. Cavanugh Bell, welcome to the show. Thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you.
I was so inspired, my friend, when I saw this story. I'm always looking for, I do a positivity show and a positivity podcast, and I'm always trying to find stories that'll make people feel good. And I found yours, I don't even remember where now. It might have been the Washington Post. It might have been People magazine. You've been everywhere. How did this all start? It started with your concern for your grandmother, correct? correct? She was in an assisted living home?
So, yes. When the pandemic hit, I didn't want my grandma to catch coronavirus and all the other senior citizens in my community. So that's why I decided to use my life savings to make care packs for them. And a bunch of people heard my story, and they started donating from all around the world. And I used those donations to start the Love is Greater Than COVID-19 community pantry.
That's fantastic. So you did something that a lot of kids and even older than you would not have thought of doing, and that is using your birthday money, right? Was this Christmas money as well? This was money you had saved, and you could have bought yourself some headphones, you could have bought yourself an Xbox, you could have bought yourself a bicycle, a scooter, whatever that you'd want to buy. And instead you did this for other people. That's so wonderful. Where did that inspiration come from? Because I wish there were more people like you that at a young age would think that way. Because a lot of people, even as adults, tend to be kind of, a little bit selfish where they think only of themselves, but you were thinking of other people.
Yeah, so really, like when the pandemic hit, it kind of changed me. It was like a spark came into me that made me want to help others with the pandemic and make sure that they have what they need.
Because it's scary. It's scary for people to go out there, especially the elderly, like your grandmother, who are maybe not able to get out, or if they do, they're concerned about getting sick, and it can be very deadly for those who are older. So you helped put care packages with toiletries and groceries together. And how did that feel to you, Cavanagh, when you saw people around the country and even in other countries donating to your cause?
It made me feel beautiful inside. It just made me feel happy because I was inspiring other people and adults and kids from all over the world, like Australia and England. They said it was like Australia and England, and I'm just happy that I was able to inspire them.
So you did the food pantry for the seniors and helping them with groceries and everybody donating. And then how did this come about where you started focusing on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation? You're in Maryland, right? This is in South Dakota. It's one of the most poor communities in the entire country. What was your connection with that reservation, or how did you find out about them, and how did you decide to help them too?
So yes, why I decided to help Pine Ridge is because I just remembered that I'm half Native American. So that's why I decided that I wanted to help my community. So that's why I sent a 53-foot tractor trailer truck full of COVID supplies to the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota.
How was that trip? That was probably quite the adventure, huh?
Yeah, we actually went there, but I did not send one. I sent two. But the first one we went and we almost got lost. But then we found the lady's house. But then we got stuck in a hailstorm.
Oh wow! I know the weather can be pretty crazy out there. Your mom is named Lacey, and she's a wonderful lady that I talked to originally to set up this interview with you. And she can't be prouder, as you know, of you, her son, doing this. How did your mom feel when you first said you wanted to do this, when it went from just the senior assisted living facility to something broader and bigger scope? What was her reaction?
Her reaction was just, like, she said, well, you're a very special kid. I thought you were just going to be like kids. They just care about themselves and they don't want to help others. But she said that I'm very selfless. And she said she hopes that when I grow up, I'll be able to be a good person and make sure that my community is safe.
Well, that is fantastic. That gives us all hope for the future when kids at a young age are caring as much as you are, Cavanagh. If I tell people about your GoFundMe, are you still accepting donations through that, or is that a closed GoFundMe, or is it always open?
That's still open.
It's still open. So that's COVID-19 Community Pantry. If people search for that on GoFundMe, they go to GoFundMe.com.
Do you want to know how much money I raised this year?
Yeah, I want to hear this.
So with GoFundMe, I raised $146,000.
Wow. Are you kidding
But
me? $146,000?
Yeah, but why? But really, like when the Washington Post and the what's it called else? The other one, when they posted like the whole thing, I got $10,000. I mean, $4,000 that day.
Wow. Just in the first day that people saw that in the news?
Yep.
Now, tell us a little bit about, I want people to go to coolanddope.com, coolanddope.com. So this is a whole separate thing, too, that it's kind of connected with what you're doing, but you are also very outspoken against bullying, right?
Yeah, but like since the pandemic hit, I just had to focus on helping the pandemic, helping people in the pandemic, and just put bullying to the side. Then when the pandemic is over, I will get back to bullying.
And you were bullied yourself, right?
Eventually.
Some kids were mean to you?
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel? Because I have 6 kids, Cavanaugh, and I hated when they got bullied. A couple of them got bullied in school, and it broke my heart. It made me very angry. What does that feel like on the receiving end? I remember being teased and stuff when I was a kid, back when I was a little bit older than you, and it hurts, doesn't it? People say, words don't hurt, but they can hurt very deeply. What were they teasing you about?
How I wasn't eating and how bigger I was and how I was doing work faster than others.
Isn't that crazy? Sometimes you
didn't.
get teased for being smart. Isn't it weird? Like you get teased either way. If they consider you kind of dumb and stupid, they'll call you that. And if you're smart and genius, then they make fun of you.
And here's the worst part about being at this school. They bullied me and the teacher bullied everyone in the school, even the bullies. Because if no one ate her food, if no one liked to eat the food that she had, she would take the bowl when your mouth was full, drag you by your collar of your shirt into the bathroom, and then shut the door on you in the bathroom.
Come on. Who did this? The teacher did this?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That makes me very angry to hear.
It happened to me before when I was being bullied because I didn't eat for 11 weeks, and I had to go through that for 11 weeks.
11 weeks? My goodness. That's so stressful. And I'm hoping, without getting too much into this, I'm hoping that teacher was talked to and the administrators and his bosses took care of that. Were they disciplined for that, I hope?
No, it was not. No. It was not a school. It was a house school, so there's nothing you can do.
It was like a homeschooling?
We were literally in the lady's house learning Chinese, so no one could stop her.
Oh, my goodness.
Not even her own son and daughter.
Wow. So what did you do? You told your mom about this? You told her when you were being bullied? Did you tell her right away?
Did. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry you went through that. It's an awful thing.
She talked to the teacher about it, but then the teacher just didn't do anything, and she started bullying me again.
Oh, boy. Well, so you're so busy with all of this donation stuff and helping people with the food pantry. The bullying stuff's kind of gone on hold, but I want people to still bookmark that website of yours because it's still active and they can still help you there. And they can also donate to the pantry on your website, too, coolanddope.com. Were you able to meet some of the people on the reservation when you went there, when you drove all the way out to South Dakota and took that trailer full of supplies and stuff? Were you able to meet the families and the kids and stuff?
Meet families what?
Were you able to meet the families at the reservation when you went to the...
So I was able to meet one family, which it was the family where we were going to, but it literally looked like really nothing.
It was just so much poverty.
It looked like nothing.
Yeah, it's very sad.
But we saw the house every like 10 minutes or 20 or so.
Yeah.
But really, it looked like everyone had moved out and got a ride or somewhere. Because it didn't look like there was anyone in the houses. The houses were dark, looked like they were like burnt down and stuff.
Wow. Yes.
But when we got stuck in that hailstorm, she said that for how long she's lived in Pine Ridge. She lives there since she was a little kid. I think she's about 57. So since she lives in Pine Ridge for 57 years, she said that was the craziest hailstorm that she has ever been in. Because she said nothing like that has ever happened before.
Well, what are your plans, Cavanagh? You're only 7 years old and you've accomplished more than most people do in their whole life. What's left for you? What's your next plan? You're going to go back to the anti-bullying campaign when COVID kind of winds down and is over. What else do you foresee? You know, when you're older, you get into high school and college and stuff. What kind of plans do you have?
Maybe I want to be a cop.
Yeah, they could sure use a lot of help right now, huh? They need a lot of support. And I've had really good friends who have been police officers and family members too. And it's a very tough occupation, probably tougher now than ever before, but they could sure use some good people like you, that's for sure. Well, Cavanagh, I appreciate you being with me, okay? And I want people to check out coolanddope.com. They can look for that GoFundMe as well. Do you have any other website or anything you want people to go to?
My Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook, all Cool Dope Living. Cool Dope Living for Instagram, Cool Dope Living for Facebook, and Cool Dope Living for Twitter.
Well, that's easy to remember. Cool Dope Living. Cavanagh, thanks a lot for everything you've done. You're a great kid. I'm very, very proud of everything you're doing, and you're a great inspiration to all of us. So thanks for being with us here, okay? And keep up the great work.
Thank you.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
Well, good morning once again, everybody. 28th day of October. Morning, Spencer.
Hey, good morning to you.
Costumes are in the air. Kaiser had some costume parties for some of these Zoom classes and community gatherings last night. So he put his Ghostbusters costume on and was showing off, and pretty cool there. Another person who has made quite a career out of costume, Sacha Baron Cohen. Borat, that new Borat movie is out. It's on Amazon Prime. It dropped last week. Have you seen it yet?
I have not. I saw the original in the theater. I'm not easily offended, as you know, and I was on the floor laughing and cringing at other times, and laughing and cringing, but I have not seen the new one.
I was similar in the original one. It was very funny to me, and I watched it. Stephanie and I watched the new one the other day. We were up early before Kaiser got up, and we had a chance to watch it. And if you liked the first one, it's very similar. What's interesting, of course, and we have a little bit of kind of behind the scenes, because there is a scene in the movie that's filmed in Olympia.
Wow. How did this he plays a goofy immigrant from like Kazakhstan or some place. Yeah. It's like a fictitious town, right? Some rural town.
Very nice.
Very nice. Sir. So how did Borat end up in Olympia, Washington?
And that's the question that I have. Because if you watch the movie, it's hard to, at times, especially now, because the whole first part of the movie is him talking about how Borat is famous in America, so he can't really even go anywhere because everybody goes up to him and is like, very nice, yeah, I like, this kind of stuff. So then it is bizarre to me to try to figure out where reality and art, the blurred lines are. Because in the scene, I don't want to give away too much, but he runs across a couple of guys, and they start talking about coronavirus, and he asks them if he could stay at their place. So that's happening. And while that's happening, the plot line continues, and they come across a post online that says this person is going to be at this rally in Olympia. And Borat says, we got to go there. And the next thing you know, he and the two guys in that house are in Olympia. So I don't know if they just flew here and they're all actors. These two guys somehow live around this parts, or I do know because I did rewatch the scene in Olympia, and I'm not naming names, but I saw some people in the crowd shots, people I know that live in Shelton.
Wow. Some have been our guests on the radio, probably. No, I'm just kidding.
I will. Well, hold on a second, because if you go back to some of these original posts when people were like, oh man, Borat punked us in Olympia.
Yeah.
One of the bands that was there was the Olsen Brothers band, and we have had them in the green room.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. Makes me want to see it now.
So nothing more than it talks about the South Sound.
Yeah.
If you've seen any of his other movies or the Ali G show on HBO or any of these, he knows how to make people feel uncomfortable, especially watchers even of the show. So there is some pretty graphic scenes of male nudity, but there were some in the original movie, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
it's
definitely not a
back to me
kid's
from the
movie.
first one.
Yeah. So I know a lot of folks have watched it. I've seen their comments on Facebook, and it's a lot of, oh man, I was laughing, but then a lot of, oh, Olympia. Come on, man.
Oh man, that's funny. Just for people that don't know anything about this, it's not a Pixar film. Please, it's on Amazon Prime, but no kids in the room, please. It's very much adult humor.
Definitely. ABC's Jason Nathanson has a little bit of information for us. We weren't the only ones here in the South Sound watching Borat. It is a hit. Here's some more from Jason from ABC.
I hope quarantine never ends.
As Borat would say, very nice. Amazon says the Borat sequel film was streamed by tens of millions of customers during its debut this past weekend. That's a big number for sure and would make it a huge box office hit, but we didn't get any more details from Amazon, like exact numbers. Or did those viewers watch just a few minutes or the whole thing? Meanwhile, an independent company, Samba TV, which analyzes these things, says 1.6 million households watched Borat 2 last weekend. Amazon says that number's off, but again, didn't provide specifics. Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Hollywood.
Thanks, Jason. So again, if you're looking for something to do, you watch the first one. Might as well check it out. Although it may, you remember when the first one came out, then there was the run on those neon green mankinis.
Oh God, no.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I can't unsee it now. Yes.
Well, all I'm going to say is, don't get yourself one for Christmas.
Does he still fit it all these years later?
I don't know. I was talking about getting you one for Christmas.
Oh God, no! Please.
All right, more Daybreak coming up. Thank you so much for listening to today's Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. Again, I'm so happy and honored you found us and chose to listen. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of some of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on iFiber One News Radio KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Thank you so much again, and talk with you next time.